But
That has
once I
always been
have
the
that
case, though.
drink, the allergy of the body kicks in. This is all documented alcoholism.
If you got a flapjack addiction, you could always control your first interaction. Once he has the first one, it's game over.
No, he said that on an interview. Yeah, and speaking on that, like when you do certain drugs, you're mentally gone. You know what I mean?
That
Like,
too, yeah.
It take you. Is addiction something that you can control or cannot control? We're gonna watch this short and hear what you guys know. This famous actor from Friends, he's talking about his addiction, and over his career he has been addicted and has been having these different type of issues of addiction, and you can tell by different seasons. He says when he's big he was on this, when he's slim he was on this type of addiction or this type of coping mechanism, whatever he used to abuse, you know. So let's watch and let's hear what he says about addiction in general.
I'm a drug addict. I'm a person that if I have a drink, I can't stop. And so it would be following your ideology that I'm choosing to do that. I'm choosing.
That's exactly not my ideology. It is my belief. Yes, you do choose.
It is, and it's a belief that you wrote in your book. Correct.
You have a choice over whether you drink or not. You have a choice over.
But your book is the only book in modern times that has this ideology. Yeah. So doesn't that teach you something?
Well, it's quite often unfashionable ideas are unfashionable because they are unpopular with influential people.
I'm in control of the first drink, and so I do all these things to protect myself from not having the first drink.
Sure.
But once I have that drink, the allergy of the body kicks in. This is all documented alcoholism proof. Then I can't stop after that. I'm a drug addict.
What do you think about, him not choosing, and he can't stop? What do you think about what he said?
I think he's right about the first part. You can always protect yourself from the first, interaction with anything, whether it be cheating, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be entertaining things that you're not supposed to. If you got a flapjack addiction, you could always control your first interaction. The hard part about it is, and I'll be transparent, I haven't done studies on addiction or anything like that, especially with drugs and alcohol. Once he has the first one, it's game over. And I wonder what happens to him. I wonder if his body moves on his own, which I know your body can't do something you don't want it to do. But if you really want to do something, there's an influence that you almost cannot control if you're addicted to something. I think he does have control over it, but at the same time, the wiring in his head is so strong to want that feeling of whatever it is that he's going to do, that he does it because, people die from going cold turkey on certain drugs. And
yeah, that's crazy, alcohol. Isn't it?
Yeah, your body will off itself if you don't feed certain addictions. Man, the brain wiring must be extremely strong. That's why addicts always go back to the drugs and stuff like that, which it's understandable.
Okay, I would use a different word other than can't control. I'll use can't resist. Because he's tuned into the feeling that he can't resist not getting back there, because that's his comfort zone. And so the reason why I say can't resist is your body's used to it. Your cells are now fashioned. Your brain is now connected to that stimulation. You can't really resist it as well as you can other things because your body has acclimated itself to that stimulus.
Yeah, resist is definitely a better word. Like, these things rewire how your brain works.
I know,
which is insane.
Man.
People don't know that. Yeah,
and look, I was going to just talk about the sugar consumption too. Like, people get addicted to eating sugar stuff, and it's hard to get off of that. That's one that's very common.
It will literally rewire your brain to desire that certain high that you get from whatever. So yeah, it makes it extremely difficult to resist. Dang near impossible for some people, enough for them to be on that certain addiction their whole entire life. That author, I see where he's coming from with the self-control, and then I also see where Perry is coming from with the he can't literally control it. And the way he was talking. Go ahead before I say something else.
No,
the way he was talking too, it seemed like he was slurring his words a little bit.
If I have a drink, I can't stop.
Are you talking about Perry, the guy?
Yeah, like it seemed like his words weren't coming out as clearly as they were when he was on Friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've watched Friends like twice.
I see. I wasn't a big Friends guy. If you say you noticing that could be because I think in between sets he would drink. That I think they
Dang.
would say that. Yeah. No, he said that on an interview. He's dead. So they played an old thing because now like, oh, what did he die from and stuff like that, and they're bringing up his substance abuse and stuff just to give a reason why he may be deceased. Speaking on to the control part or don't have control, I think you definitely have. In my head, I could already hear the arguments and stuff like that. If you choose to do it, you chose it, and after you choose, like after you get into it, because it has now become an addiction, whatever happens is now in the swirl of that disaster.
Exactly.
But you definitely chose to do it, and that's why you're doing it.
I think a lot of guys can relate to this too with corn addiction. It gets to a point where you've done it so much, it's not a physical drug that you take, it's more of a mental drug. It gets to a point where you literally cannot go certain days without doing it. The guy on the whatever podcast, he said he does it at least maybe once a week. He'll do it.
Oh, the host?
Yeah, he'll flap his jacks. And I'm like, bro, what are you, a child? You know what I mean? That's a child thing to do. And a lot of guys are that way. But people look at Matthew Perry and say, hey, man, you can control yourself, man. Just don't have another drink. It's like, all right, can you open a corn website, look at all that stuff, and then tell me you just get off the website? Right? The control comes at don't open a corn website. Right? The control comes at don't drink that first drink. When you rewire your brain chemistry,
yeah,
resisting becomes dang near impossible.
Yeah, and speaking on that, like when you do certain drugs, you're mentally gone. You know what I mean?
That
like
too, yeah.
It take you, so it can have the same effect on your mind where you're just taken, like you're lost in it. Because now your body is react to the stimulus, and it's very hard to stop or even think about choosing to stop because you're on a roll.
Yeah,
your body's tuned in now, and plus we know the enemy. For those who are believers, know the enemy and love to keep people in there. Reasons that people could go in is depression, for loss of anything, family, this, that, and the third. Like the enemy is good at using what is close to you to affect you and keep you in an area where you're not productive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, stress will trigger a lot of people to go back to their addiction. That's why Christ in the Bible encourages us to not worry about anything. Do not worry for this, because it's not an encouragement just for addiction. It's an encouragement for a number of things. Living in anxiety all the time, living in depression all the time. All of that stuff comes from worry. All of that stuff comes from outside influences coming in. And then what happens? You pick up an addiction. Depression can be an addiction. Like it can be a safe place for certain people. There's a lot going on in my life. I'm stressed about this. I'm anxious about this. Oh,
yep.
Fall into depression. For certain people, yeah, depression is that way. Like you look at their lives, things are going great. There's nothing to be depressed about. Yet here they are depressed, so much so that they take their lives sometimes. And it's very sad. It's a very sad thing. So yeah, man.
Yep.